So let's talk about the Harbor Freight Predator 3500 watt inverter generator. These are sold in mass amounts. The design I think was really interesting, and I bought one 2 years ago and used it a pile. And in today's video I'm going to share with you the pros and the cons and my review of the Predator 3500 watt inverter generator. John, welcome to my channel. This channel has hunting, fishing, cooking, DIY tips, gear reviews, and a host of other things. So if you're into any of that, like and subscribe and I'll share content as I'm able. So you made the decision to buy a generator. Before you go and plunk down hundreds or thousands of dollars of your hard-earned money for this piece of gear, I wanted to take a moment and share with you my experience with the Harbor Freight Predator 3500 watt inverter generator. So like you, I had the need to get a generator to run my travel trailer, and in the initial review that I did, these had positive ratings. So went to Harbor Freight, plumped down $750, got my generator and got it home and put it to use almost immediately. So when it was new and when everything worked like it should, it was really nice. You go out, you turn the switch, you hit the start button on the electric starter and fire it up and away you go. But over time, as I started using this more, I started running into issues with cranking, with staying running, with being overloaded, with a few other things. Now I'll qualify this by saying I use my gear relentlessly. I don't buy something to baby it and put it on a shelf and to look at it. I buy it to use it, and this is no different. I use this thing every weekend or every other weekend for 6 months out of hunting season, and then during the summer when it wasn't hunting season, I would use it probably twice a month, once a month at the minimum, and on a weekend. And so I would run it at least, 20, 30 hours on a weekend. So I use mine probably way more than most people are going to use theirs. So the other thing I'll tell you is I had this generator for about 2 years, and 2 years is not a bad amount of time to have use out of something, but for an item this expensive, I would have hoped to have better quality and better usage than just 2 years. I could have maintained it a little different. Hindsight's 2020. Looking back now, I probably should have done a few things to baby it a little bit different. But I'll also say that there are other generators on the market that have, simpler features where you don't have to do that. So the biggest issue for me was the fuel system. This generator has a system that makes use of regenerating, air and forcing air. I don't even know what it's called. I can't tell you what the system's called. But anyway, it's not a normal carbureted system. So there's a filter and a bunch of hoses on here, and so the generator actually would not run. And so in some of the troubleshooting that I tried to figure out how to make it run or how to make it run better, I came across a few videos that said you should actually take this system off and then modify the air box to where you could pull more air and do all these different things. So I was a little frustrated, number one, that I had to take this that I bought and modify it to make it to work. Not ideal, but like I told you, $750 is pretty serious cash, and being a year and a half in, I didn't want to go spend another $750 if I could, modify something and make it work. So that's what I did. Worked okay. After that, I did have a lot of problems, trying to start the generator after that. I know it was a design feature that things are designed to be clean and proper and work well. And so once I took this off, I would have to kind of put it in start mode, flip it back to run mode, put it about halfway, and kind of finagle with, the choke and the run operation on this generator to get it to work. What I also had to do several times was take the carburetor off and try to clean it out and try to put seafoam green and all kinds of stuff in the fuel system to get it to run well. Now, I didn't put dirty gas in it. I didn't leave gas in it, but this was just one of the things that I had to do to try to get this generator to run. It was such a problem that, I ended up having to do this on just about every other trip. And so to put this in perspective, if I use this generator every weekend, every other weekend, I would have to take the carburetor off and rebuild it, which is a total pain in the butt. Finally, it got down to the point to where I had fooled with this generator so much and this had gone so poorly that I could get the generator to run some simple things, but it would not run the AC in my travel trailer. So that was kind of the last straw for me. I ended up, putting this generator away. I'm going to get a carburetor and put on it and then probably give it to a family member to use in case of a power outage or something like that, where they can at least run a refrigerator or some other small appliances, lights, whatever. But, loading all my gear up, driving an hour and a half away to where my hunting lease is, and then pulling a generator out and then it cutting up and acting up and sputtering, and that's unacceptable for me. So I've had enough. So I bought a Champion generator, which I'll do an introduction and review on after this video. So, my review. The Predator generator is really quiet. It's not that expensive compared to a Honda or a Yamaha inverter generator. So I think for basic use and the first part of the life cycle of this generator, it's really convenient. It's really nice. Unfortunately, if you use it enough, you're gonna start to have some issues, I think. Like I told you in the beginning of the video, I use my gear a lot. I try not to abuse it, but I don't baby it either. And so when I buy something and I start to use it, I expect it to work. Fortunately, this one let me down. The fuel systems and the inability to drain the gas out of the carburetor, I think, is one of the biggest culprits to the issues that this generator has. So I would suggest that you probably buy a generator where you can have a fuel switch and you cut that fuel switch off and let the generator run out of gas. That way fuel's out of the system, and you know that if the generator sits up for an amount of time that you can pull the gas out of it and put new gas in it, and that'll save you a lot of troubles. Lastly, I had issues with the fuel system. I had issues with the low oil sensor. I had issues with the pull rope and the cranking system, and it's just too much for me. So I do not recommend this generator, to people who are going to use an application like I do. I would recommend you get something that's easier to maintain, where you don't have to take panels on and off. And I realize that an inverter is designed to be quiet, but you're only talking about, for some generators, you're only talking about, a few decibels difference in having a closed casing design versus an open design with maybe some different things. And so I would weigh that out before, making a purchase like this. My rating, 2 thumbs down. Sorry. Can't all be roses and can't all be good reviews, but this is factual. I used this generator for 2 years, and I use it in applications that, maybe you have a similar situation where you do remote camping or boondocking a lot, or you have your travel trailer on a hunting lease, or you have it stored somewhere to use on the weekend, a lake, or something like that. But if you're counting on this generator, chances are it's going to let you down. So hope this video helped. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll answer, give any kind of advice that I can. Thanks for watching.